Java 8 provides an out-of-box function for accepting an input and returning nothing. This is called Consumer Functional Interface. Any functionality that consumes input arguments but produces no output is fit for consumer as its functional interface. Consumer Functional Interface is a generic interface that has single abstract method accept. The method accepts a generic object as expected and returns a void. There's also a default method and then, which we will go through in this session as well. The interface definition looks like this. It has one single abstract method, making it as a functional interface, and one default method called and then. You should check out the Java doc for more information about and then as well as accept. So as the interface explains, the consumer has the accept method that takes in a single argument and returns nothing. So any functionality such as persisting a record, encrypting a file, or deleting a to-do list, etc. These are all good candidates for consumer as long as we don't expect returns from these methods. As this functionality returns nothing, consumer is a good fit. We can create a functional interface like this. Let's start with a simple example, an example to print out a movie information to a console. As you can see, we are creating a lambda expression that takes in a movie object M and prints out that information to the console. And this is set to a consumer functional interface, as you can see here. To put into action, invoke the accept method on this interface. So we have a text consumer method which passes in a movie. So we are using the print info consumer. We have an accept method on that consumer. So simply we are invoking that accept method on this input movie. We are passing a movie called Gods Must Be Crazy here as the input parameter to the test consumer method. So if you run this method, you are expected to return a print statement saying, printing out the name of the movie. Suppose we wish to save a movie to our database. So we create a consumer function just like this. This lambda expression is simply calling a method called persist and providing the movie object. We are not doing anything else apart from saying that it is going to be persisted to a movie database. The expectation is that the persist method takes in a movie object as its argument but returns void. This is the reason why it can be good fit for our consumer interface. Let's see this in action as well. We can see that we are printing out the movie to the console and persisting the movie to the database. Similar to what we have learned about composing predicates, we can also compose consumers using and then default method. This method invokes the current consumer first and then goes on to invoke the second consumer straight after. Let's see this in action. Now that we have print info and the persist movie consumers, we wish to combine them such that we like to print the movie information first, followed by persisting the movie information to the database. Let's see how we can do that. So what we do is that we simply use the movie info, that is print info, followed by persist info. We use the existing print info consumer, invoke the method and then on it by passing the second consumer. So what it means is that first we do a printout of the movie information, then we persist the movie to the database. Remember, this method is going to return a consumer itself. Now that we have a consumer having both these functionalities merged into one, let's see how we can work out through this consumer. We call the accept method on the consumer, which will invoke the respective method. Let's see this. Let's run this test case. You can see that first the movie is printed out, followed by persisting the movie. What happens if we change it across? Print info. Now you can see that we have changed the order of persistence and printing out. So now we are persisting the movie first, followed by printing out, just by taking a different argument. So basically the order is going to follow is that we are going to call the accept method on this one first, followed by the second consumer. We can also chain these consumers to form a single consumer with all those functional bits knitted together. Say we have a consumer called notifier. which notifies the audience about its movie. Now we have the consumer notifier as well. Let's create a chained consumer. Let's start with notification, then persist, then print. This is our new consumer, which is chained using 3 other consumers. Let's see how it's working. So if we invoke the test, then we know that this piece of functionality is also going to be invoked. Let's run it and see. As you can see, the last 3 statements pertain to the chained consumer. So we are notifying the movie, we are persisting the movie, and we are printing out the information about the movie. This is how we can chain the consumers. So consumers are a good fit for a use case where we have a single argument given but no return is expected.